$100 with your extra discount. You'll even get a free adjustable base on select beds. Plus, if you see a lower price, Mattress Firm will match it. Restrictions apply.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Welcome to another busy broadcast day here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We are following breaking news. Nikki Haley is announcing that she is suspending her presidential campaign following Super Tuesday yesterday. Let's go live now to Daniel Island, South Carolina, where Haley is addressing her supporters.
And always supported the Republican nominee. But on this question, as she did on so many others, Margaret Thatcher provided some good advice when she said, quote, "Never just follow the crowd. Always make up your own mind." It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him. And I hope he does that. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. And our conservative cause badly needs more people. This is now his time for choosing. I end my campaign with the same words I began it, from the book of Joshua. I direct them to all Americans, but especially to so many of the women and girls out there who put their faith in our campaign. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for God will be with you wherever you go. In this campaign, I have seen our country's greatness. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, America. God bless you.
That is Nikki Haley suspending her presidential campaign, not endorsing former President Donald Trump, who is now the presumptive Republican nominee, as if he wasn't about a year ago. But now it is officially, unofficially official. Trump is the presumptive nominee. All of the major candidates who opposed him in the primary have suspended their campaigns, and we officially begin the longest general election in American presidential history. Are you ready? I know I am. AdventNews.com talk and text line is 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where you can watch us streaming live via the DanoCam, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. We are streaming live there as well. And of course on our YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. There. No real surprises in the Super Tuesday primaries and caucuses last night, except in American Samoa, where some random dude beat President Biden in the Democratic primary. You think I'm making this up. His name is Jason Palmer, and he appears to have pulled a fast one on American Samoans in a video introducing himself and asking Samoans for their vote. He claimed to be kind of a big deal in the United States.
I'm asking for your support and vote, and would love to talk to you about why I believe I'm the best candidate for American Samoa, a beautiful and diverse territory that needs much more attention and support from our federal government. You're probably wondering, who is this Jason Palmer? I've never heard of him before. Well, in the mainland, I'm actually very well known as an education technology leader, investor, and executive.
He's actually very well known. Did you know Jason Palmer? No? Is there a drink named after you? Imagine he does this video. You know, you combine iced tea and lemonade, you make a Jason Palmer. It's what all the Americans do. He won 51-40 over President Biden in the American Samoa presidential primary. Not 51% to 40%, 51 votes to 40 votes. But it is hilarious that Biden's first loss in any primary or caucus this election cycle came to some guy who nobody, and if there are any American Samoans, if there is anyone on American Samoa who is hearing the sound of my voice, rest assured, we don't know who Jason Palmer is either. This does, however, sort of put a very minor black eye on an otherwise pretty good night for Biden. This was unlike the Michigan primary of last week, where uncommitted got 100,000 votes. It wasn't nearly as successful a night for non-Biden statements as it was in Michigan, because obviously of the pro-Hamas caucus basically demanding that Biden's administration change its stance on Israel-Palestinian relations and the war between the IDF and Hamas. The reality is that this was probably the most boring Super Tuesday outside of Jason Palmer's surprise and outside of the fact that it was sort of telegraphed that Nikki Haley was going to drop out. She didn't schedule any public events today. We knew that about mid-afternoon yesterday. That's usually a pretty good sign that a candidate is going to drop out. It is telling, however, that she is not going to endorse Trump because I believe, and I do believe this very strongly, that she is going to be very strongly weighing an opportunity to run as a third-party candidate on the No Labels ticket. This, of course, would preclude any possibility of her running for a Republican nomination in 2028. But the way she was rejected, not just by the hardcore Trump voters, but by people who are sort of lukewarm to Trump, the only lane she was able to really run in was the hardcore anti-Trump, halfway Democrat rhino voters, like the true rhinos. I know we do have this thing in the Republican Party where we call everyone who disagrees with us on even one issue a rhino, but there are true rhinos, the sort of neo-centrist movement, the Mitt Romneys of the world. Before he passed away, John McCain, Luther Olson in Wisconsin, great memory, Dave. He was sort of the classic rhino. He was just, I mean, he's with Democrats more often than not. Today, you would call him a Kino, I guess, Sino, conservative in name only. Brian Hagedorn, who, when he was the deciding vote on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, could always, on every major ruling, be counted on to side with the left-wing group. So now we move into the significant question of which one of these two candidates, Biden or Trump, is going to do a better job solidifying their base. It is right now an open question. And of course, the biggest variable in all of this is the status of Trump's various legal entanglements. There is going to be, at the very least, one criminal prosecution of Trump that's going to take place in New York State later this month. I think the start date is March 28th. Don't quote me on that. It is late March. While there's going to be a Supreme Court ruling on Trump's claims of presidential immunity, which, frankly, folks, I think that the high court is going to slap down. I don't think that the president does enjoy, as Trump suggests, full presidential immunity. That said, this is probably going to ensure that at least one of those two cases, the January 6th one, and possibly the other federal case, the Mar-a-Lago documents one, won't be able to go to trial before the election. And you heard Democrats, when the Supreme Court announced that it was going to take up this case, take up the idea that Trump is claiming presidential immunity. And this is a question that constitutionally has never been settled because, frankly, we've never prosecuted a president or former president in our nation's history until a former president happened to be running against the current regime. Weird how that works, isn't it? We went 200 plus years as a nation, almost 250 years without prosecuting a former president. And lo and behold, 3 different jurisdictions, the federal government and its Justice Department, headed by the guy who just happens to be running for re-election against the former president we're prosecuting, and Georgia and New York all decide at the exact same time to prosecute the former president. It is just so weird. We talk often about here on this show about criminality and how you sort of outgrow it. Your average criminal sort of outgrows his criminality by about 40, 45 years old, right? Have you ever heard of a criminal starting to commit crimes at 75? Grandpa just decides, I've only got a few years left. I'm going to go knock off a bank. I'm going to defraud some banks in New York. You know what? I think I am going to sexually assault a woman in a crowded department store with somehow nobody seeing it. Doesn't work like that, but that's the entire Democrat strategy. The key to this election, however, is going to be shoring up the base, because whether or not you're a huge Trump fan, whether or not you're a huge Biden fan, and I'm taking a wild guess, not a whole lot of you in my audience are, understand that a huge percentage of the American voting public does not want this rematch, does not want to see Biden and Trump again, and is going to be so sick of both of these old codgers from now until November that they're going to be pulling their hair out. Oh, by the way, did you see the announcement from former First Lady Michelle Obama's office? It's okay. Our greatest fears are not going to come true, as I have been telling you for pretty much, 8 years now since the moment that Barack and Michelle Obama left office. I am telling you, there is no chance that Michelle Obama is going to run for president. Do you know why? Because Michelle Obama doesn't want to be president. She wants to be Meghan Markle. She wants to be American royalty. That's what the Obamas care about. They care about being loved and adored and getting hundreds of millions of dollars for no real reason. You know, just Netflix, $100 million. Sure, produce a couple of shows, do a podcast. We don't really care. Here's your $100 million. That's what they want. They want to party on luxury yachts with Jeff Bezos. They want to give the occasional speech for $500,000 a pop, and they want to be worshipped wherever they go. Michelle Obama, the last thing she wants is to involve herself in the day-to-day operation of government, the day-to-day practice of politics and policy. Obama never liked it. He was even open about that. He said, I don't like the drudgery of this. He loved giving speeches. He loved the applause. He loved making his March Madness picks every single year. Did he actually like crafting immigration policy? No, of course not. That was for the peons. That was for the little people. That was for the Joe Bidens of the world. Let's put Joe in charge of Ukraine. See what happens. I'm sure there won't be any grift that comes out of that. But when it comes to solidifying bases, and this is really the key. Of course, you've got to win crossover, undecided voters, that sort of thing. And you have to win them in what I think is going to be 3 critical swing states, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia. Also big news yesterday that will have ramifications for the control of the Senate and potentially spill over into the presidential ballot. Kyrsten Sinema, who left the Democratic Party, still caucused with them. She's the senator from Arizona. She was running as an independent. They have a Democrat candidate, Ruben Gallegos, running as a Dem against Kari Lake, who, of course, ran for governor in 2022. Sinema announced yesterday she's not seeking re-election. She is leaving the Senate. So in that state, you are going to have just gobs of money pouring in. With Sinema in, it was going to be seen as a much easier path, I think, for Lake. And there is disagreement about this. But what is clear is while there won't be a Kyrsten Sinema-style spoiler, an independent candidate in Arizona, there are going to be multiple in the presidential race. Whether or not one of them is Nikki Haley, and frankly, I think her dropping out now suggests to me that she is not going to run third party. She's not going to be the no labels candidate. But again, what do I know? Anytime anyone has tried to predict something that's going on in politics in the Trump era from 2015 when he came down the escalator until now has been proven wrong. It's just darn near impossible to do. What we do know, however, is that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to be in this race. Jill Stein is going to be in this race. And what we've seen in polling thus far, admittedly very early, is that this is giving Trump something of a boost. Now, what did we see just a couple of days ago? The U.S. Supreme Court weigh in on what? Ballot access for Trump. The real battle over ballot access isn't going to be for Trump, but rather for RFK Jr. and Jill Stein. I'll explain that aspect, plus much more on Super Tuesday when we come back here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show next.
What do we got?
Order. A lot of cats.
How many cats?
I don't know, man, like 400?
What do you ladies want to watch?
Why are there pool noodles on the go?
It's a 100-year-old tortoise born in the 1920s. This guy was probably pretty racist back then.
Let's get these trash pandas in the truck, everyone.
They get him through the AC duct and hit the bar.
All these guys 21?
The Animal Control season premiere, Wednesday, March 6th on Fox.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Voss's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Voss Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
Hi, I'm Jeff Kelm. Join Dan Small and me for Outdoors Radio Saturday mornings at 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Brought to you by Hupy and Abraham, Wisconsin's largest personal injury law firm. 800-800-5678 or HUPY.com.
After 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation promised to make sure that we never forget, and since then they have been supporting American heroes and their families. Heroes like U.S. Army Specialist Michael Hook. He was killed in Iraq, and Hook left behind a pregnant fiance who gave birth to a son that he would never meet. Tunnel to Towers stepped up. They paid off the mortgage on their home. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org. The letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Pure Talk believes in American values and that free should mean exactly that, free. Well, switch to Pure Talk today and you'll get a free Samsung 5G smartphone. Now, qualifying plans start at just $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and, of course, mobile hotspot. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, claim your eligibility for your free brand new Samsung 5G smartphone. Start saving on wireless today and switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk.
There's only one store that gives you every possible choice in diamonds.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes, we will talk with Wisconsin Senate candidate Eric Hovde about, of all things, bobbleheads. No, I'm serious. Last time we talked to him about his mustache. This time, bobbleheads. Clearly the most serious and hard-hitting radio show in the state of Wisconsin, the Dan O'Donnell Show. We are, of course, going to talk about post-Super Tuesday, running on the same ballot as former President Trump here in Wisconsin, a state that still hasn't really warmed up. I mean, it has. Don't get me wrong. But there was always sort of this outsized never Trump movement in Wisconsin. Remember, we were the last state in 2016 to actually vote against Trump before Nikki Haley won Washington, D.C., which, I know is not a state. But then again, she won last night in Vermont. Close race, but she did win. Nikki Haley, of course, drops out. So we will talk to Eric Hovde about the state of the Republican Party. It really is fractured, as Haley, during her remarks about 20 minutes ago, seemed to suggest that, Trump needs to earn my vote. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Trump needs to earn my vote too. Trump needs, that's the whole point of campaigning. But this sort of special breed of arrogance where, well, I'm going to withhold my endorsement until he earns it. Okay. You go, girl. A number of people who are texting in on the AdventNews.com talk and text line do remind me that at least 8 states have what are known as sore loser laws on the books that would potentially preclude Haley from running in a general election, and that's true. I actually don't think she is, not necessarily because of that, but because she would have no future in Republican Party politics. There is going to be a time post-Trump, right? Trump is not going to be president. He's not going to be the candidate forever, although, as I have suggested, given the baby boom generation's unwillingness to let go and the rise of artificial intelligence and, robotic technology, we're just going to have cyborg boomers lead us until the 2100s. I'm telling you, just when, unfortunately, and heaven willing, this doesn't happen for a long time, Joe Biden passes away. We implant his consciousness onto a Joe Biden robot. And I'm not entirely precluding the possibility that this is happening now, that we're just seeing the Joe Biden cyborg and it's glitching out regularly. And what we're mistaking for senility is actually just him needing a new battery. But you implant his consciousness, you implant Trump's consciousness into a cyborg, and there you have it. No other generation until we are all dead will ever get to rule. It's just going to be baby boomers forever. We're 10 years away from that. Haley, I don't think, is going to run because there is going to be a time post-Trump where she will want to figure into national Republican politics. She's clearly going to run for president again, saying and trying to go through the same Trump lane, especially if Trump wins in 2024. There is going to be a whole lot of I told you so-ing from the never Trump wing of the Republican Party. And there is going to be a lane there that is going to expand for someone like Haley. She's going to want to be there. If she runs and is seen as the reason that Trump doesn't win because she's the Ross Perot of 2024, then she has no future. Biden's biggest threat right now, as I see it, comes from, believe it or not, Jill Stein and Cornel West. RFK Jr., I think, is probably taking votes a little more from Biden and a lot more based on state polling from the New York Times, Siena College poll, and a number of others. I think, was it Pew? Somebody just did all 7 swing states. Trump is leading in every single one of the 7 swing states. Now, of course, with, as I said, the big variable being Trump's criminal prosecutions on the horizon, and those polls are probably even less reliable than they would be in a quote-unquote normal year. But when Biden and Trump go head-to-head in those swing states as well as nationally, Trump is leading by anywhere from 3 to 5 points. That lead increases when you add more options. RFK Jr., Cornel West, and Jill Stein. Even though West and Stein are getting 1% of the vote at max, they still factor in because the margins are probably going to be just as tight as they were in 2020. Remember, 45,000 votes total across 3 states, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia, were the difference between a Biden presidency and a Trump presidency. All of the stuff we heard about, the turnout and voter fraud and all of this, it ultimately came down to 45,000 votes. That's it. 10,000 votes in Georgia, about 20,000 each in Arizona and Wisconsin. In 2016, Trump won Wisconsin by about 20,000 votes over Hillary Clinton. Jill Stein was on the ballot in 2016. She got approximately 20,000 votes. Do you think the majority of those votes would have otherwise gone to the Democrat Clinton or the Republican Trump? I think the answer is pretty obvious, since Jill Stein is a member of the Green Party. In 2020, the Wisconsin Elections Commission wouldn't allow Stein to be on the ballot in a move that I thought violated its own precedent as well as Wisconsin election law. Lo and behold, Joe Biden beat Trump by about 20,000 votes. The battle over ballot access for Stein, for RFK, and for Cornel West is going to be massive. If they get on the ballot in those swing states, and I'm taking a wild guess that here in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in the states where Democrats control the operation of elections, where they control either state government in toto, or here in Wisconsin, they control the governorship and the State Department of Justice, you are going to see an all-out battle to keep those third-party candidates off of the ballots in order to protect Joe Biden. Again, we talk with Eric Hovde, running for Senate here in Wisconsin, coming up next on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com. Or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Vos's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
Jesus said, "Destroy this temple,
and in 3 days I will raise it up. Hello, this is Archbishop Listecki. Jesus boldly proclaims that his life is the temple that will be raised up, and nothing can destroy the sacrifice of his life on the cross. It is God's love freely given through his Son for our redemption. He offers his loving relationship in the Eucharist at Mass. It's Lent. Join us at Mass.
Hello. Hey, can I have your attention for just a moment? If you're in Racine County, I'm talking to you. You know, we have elections in August and November. That's when we can decide to vote to keep lawmakers on the job or throw them out and try someone new. This recall business with Robin Vos, it's just plain dumb. It's a giant waste of more than $400,000 in taxpayer money. And we just have to turn around and have the regular elections in November anyway. Whatever you think of Robin Vos, just say no to the stupid recall. Don't sign a petition because you're sick of politics as usual. The stupid recall won't accomplish anything other than wasting taxpayer dollars. It's bad enough when politicians do that to us. We shouldn't do it to ourselves. Okay? All right, I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Paid for by Wisconsinites for Liberty Fund. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Hello, America. It's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you don't have Consumer Cellular yet, now is the perfect time to switch and save. For a limited time, new customers can get wireless service for as low as $15 a month for your first year. Yep, the same exact nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for $15 a month for an entire year. What are you waiting for? Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and use code RADIO15.
See consumercellular.com/firstyear15 for promotional details.
Love podcasts? Pull out your phone right now. Open the free iHeartRadio app and check out these podcasts. History on Trial.
Only 30 minutes to put her body in the well.
Dateline NBC.
The first big clue in the mystery.
Mission Implausible.
It means to keep down what was then called the Third World.
Listen today on the iHeartRadio app. More than just the best radio, it's your favorite podcasts too. And best of all, it's absolutely free. iHeartRadio.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Welcome back to it. I am so happy to be joined live on the line by Wisconsin Senate candidate Eric Hovde. Eric, good morning to you. Eric, are you there? There we go.
You're having a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. You too. We sort of got disconnected right at the beginning there, but I assume you were saying thank you so much for having me, Dan. You are the greatest talk radio host in the country, and I wouldn't dream of talking with anyone else. Or am I putting words into your mouth, sir?
That is exactly what I was saying, as well as saying that all your listeners are the greatest people in the world, and have a wonderful day. But all are true.
This man knows politics. What can I say? So you also, I got to tell you, sir, this is something of a rarity here in Wisconsin politics. I've got to give credit where credit's due. Last time we chatted was on the Mark Belling Show, and we had a detailed discussion about your mustache. Today, we are talking about bobbleheads. I've got to give you credit. You clearly are putting the fun back in politics in Wisconsin.
Look, the Democrats have destroyed everything. Our cities, our health care, our deficit, comedy. Look at comedians who won't even go to college campuses or liberal cities because they kill comedy. You got to have some fun. And, why not use a little humor to point out the fact that Tammy Baldwin votes with Joe Biden 95.5% of the time. It's like a bobblehead. Yep, whatever the progressive left says, so that's what I do. I always vote for whatever they say. So you got to have some fun in life. Life is short, and, try to enjoy it and use some humor.
The website is bobblebaldwin.com if you'd like to see the Tammy Baldwin bobblehead. And she really is. I mean, that's the best way. I mean, the cliche is she's a rubber stamp, but the best way to put it is she is a bobblehead. She just says, yes, let's do it. Sanctuary cities, unfettered illegal immigration, you got it. Inflation, you bet. In fact, I also note that your bobblehead also features Tammy's arms like glued to her sides, which I think serves as a dual metaphor for the fact that she doesn't actually do anything. All she seems to do is just nod her head up and down. No legislation of consequence, no independent thought. She is literally a bobblehead.
Yeah, well, I mean, think of it. She came out of college, ran for county board, then went on to the Assembly, then into Congress and Senate. So she's been in politics for 37 years, 25 years in D.C. She's never operated in the real world. She's never had to, go get a job other than political. She never had to buy her own health insurance, much less buy anybody else's health insurance. She has nothing to offer. So, when you think of 37 years, 25 years in D.C., can anybody out there name one thing she's accomplished? My guess is no. I mean, because I ask people this all the time. What has Tammy Baldwin accomplished? And they sit there with a blank stare and I don't know. And she is exactly that. She's your classic backbencher who's just a rubber stamp, for the progressive left. And that's what her career has been about.
So you're running against her, and now we know. I mean, we've always sort of known for pretty much the last year that you would be sharing a ballot with former President Trump. Just about 40 minutes ago, Nikki Haley made it official. She is suspending her campaign, dropping out of this race. She is not yet endorsing the former president. But what this means, sir, is that this is going to be the longest general election in American presidential history. And while it is kind of funny to think about the fact that we're all going to be so sick of politics that by the time the RNC rolls around in Milwaukee, we're all going to be like, oh, my God, isn't it over yet? Isn't it over? Just make it be over. I want to care about stupid stuff like Kardashians and football again. But there is that fatigue factor that you're sort of going to be battling, especially since we're going to have a presidential rematch of Trump and Biden, two candidates that, let's face it, a whole lot of people are not especially excited about. How do you plan to sort of combat that voter fatigue in a long general election slog?
And Dan, it's a very serious issue because there is going to be a burnout factor. And you got two stark contrasts. If I'm Trump, you're in a much better position. Whether you like Donald Trump or you dislike Donald Trump, you can't argue the fact that his performance has been far superior. I mean, look, the border, you're down to 300,000 border crossings under Joe Biden. What is it, 3.5 million? The estimates are between 9 to 12 million. So you're going to have this clash where they're going to be going at each other. It will be a stark difference between the performance of President Trump, which is why he's leading in the polls versus Joe Biden. But it's going to get nastier and nastier, and it's going to tune people out. I'm going to have a different tone. I'm going to have fun in the campaign. I'm going to try to, talk about real issues that Tammy Baldwin has failed not only our country but the people of Wisconsin. But you got to have some fun. Yeah. And I, obviously I'm going up on air earlier with my ads because this is a time where you're not going to be bombarded. Gosh, can you imagine by August or September, you won't be able to watch any show without getting nothing but political ads for 2.5 months. So, I hope the Packers, will lift the attitudes of us Wisconsinites because I'm so excited about the next Packer season. So, I'm going to try to be positive and hopefully people will tune in to what I have to say.
Is that Is that kind of naturally who I don't want to say, oh, no, because I've known you for a while and I know you're an upbeat, positive, fun guy. But is this like sort of a conscious decision to be the happy warrior as opposed, because there is so much doom and gloom. I mean, we've got sky high inflation. Prices are out of control. You go to a grocery store, it's going to cost you $400. Interest rates are high. Nobody can move because they can't get out of their 3% mortgage that they got. Thank you very much, former President Trump, for an economy that was able to get us 3% mortgages. And now we're at, what, 7.5%, 8%. So the housing market has kind of stagnated a little bit. You've got illegal immigration. You've got people being the victims of illegal immigrant crimes all over the place. Crime generally is infinitely higher than it was under Trump. It's very easy to have this doom and gloom and to sit here. And I battle this on the radio every day the natural inclination is, oh, this is terrible and awful. But is that sort of a conscious decision that you made to always sort of lift people up and say, hey, there's something better, and yeah, it sucks now, but we're America. Let's point and laugh at the stupidity of liberals and let's move forward on a better path?
Look, when I give my speeches, I can get very serious, and I point out a lot of very troubling facts and the American dream, how it's being whittled away. I mean, we're losing 100,000 young people to opiate and fentanyl. We are, 77% of our young people can't meet military service due to mental health issues, drug addiction, and obesity. We have a lot of serious things. And I will talk about those serious things and how Washington has failed and the corruption in Washington. But you know what? We have to have hope. We have to be positive. Look, our country's been in very difficult spots before. And when Ronald Reagan, and I'm a big fan of Ronald Reagan, I believe in the broad tent, you got to use a positive message. I throughout my life, I've always tried to be positive, even in the face of a lot of difficult things. I have multiple sclerosis. I got diagnosed at 27 years old, and let me tell you, that is a big, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to my...
How did I feel like I haven't done my research. I did not know you were battling MS. Yeah, I got diagnosed with MS at 27, and you don't know, how long you're going to have, what the course of it. Now, knock on wood, because I led a super healthy lifestyle, medications and all the rest, my MS has largely been, pretty benign over the last 18, 19 years. But I have some really rough years in my late 20s or mainly my 30s. But I had to make a choice. And, my choice was, I'm going to look forward. I'm going to be positive. I'm not going to let it define me. And I try to take that approach in everything in life. I always say, Dan, if we got the time, there's 5 things that control the quality of a person's life. It's the decisions you make, because decisions have consequences. Good decisions beget good consequences. Bad decisions beget bad consequences. The effort you put forth, whatever you want to do in life, whether it's in business, whether it's in sports, whether it's in academia or music, you have to work at it, including relationships, your friendships, your family. I've been blessed with wonderful friendships because I put a lot of effort into maintaining and keeping those relationships. Third is attitude. Everybody gets to choose what attitude you have. And I've been all over the world. I've Hubby Homes rescuing street children. I've seen children that have gone through the worst things. I've seen people in the greatest poverty, but they have a positive attitude. And then I've been in the wealthiest spots in the world where people have everything, and they can have the worst attitudes. So we all get to determine our attitude. And then there's fate. We can't control fate. We can all get in a car tomorrow and be hit and, be paralyzed, or something horrible happen to you. But if you do the first 3 things well, you can overcome even most of the worst fate. And then lastly, faith. Faith, we know, makes people more resilient. It makes you, I'm a Christian. I have strong faith. It makes you see there's something bigger than you,
And we know, like drug addiction, alcoholism, it's people with faith that are much more likely to overcome that addiction. So those are the 5 things that really control the quality of your life. And I believe attitude's a very important part of that. So life's short. I'm knocking on the door at 60. I don't have, 20 years is going to go by really fast. So you might as well enjoy your life while you're here. Don't get me wrong. I'm a very serious person. I'm a total workaholic, but you got to try to have fun. And it's better to be fun, and it's better to be around people that like to enjoy themselves. I always enjoy being in your company because you're an upbeat, happy guy.
I mean, I try to be. Sir, I'll be totally honest with you. I'm kind of sitting back just amazed, in awe. Please tell me that you're incorporating those 5 things into your stump speech. Because I haven't, but I've given that speech to graduation classes, and I gave it probably the best time. And it was, I go much longer. I gave it to a group of people that had gone on to a secondary education after being terrible drug addicts and all the rest. It was a class of about 25, and I talked about it and every one of those steps. And I can't tell you how they came up after hugging me and talking about that, because they had hit the lowest of the lows. Yeah. And I talked about, how they overcame and all the things. And it took a right attitude. It took work. It took, faith and all the rest. So, it's a very impactful message, and it was one of the great blessings to do that with a bunch of people that had really struggled in life, and had been at the bottom and had pulled themselves up, and it was just great. Hey, can I ask a favor, sir? Can we do an interview where maybe you come in? It can be either on this show, or I'm going to be filling in for Belling for the rest of the month, and we just talk about stuff like that, independent of politics.
I would love that.
Okay, because I feel like, and even take questions from the audience. Like, you come in studio, we hang out for like an hour and just sort of talk about life, philosophy, and that sort of stuff. Because honestly, what I just heard from you is quite possibly one of the most real things that I've ever heard out of a candidate. Honestly, sir, I don't know if this is part of your bio, your battle with MS, but the way that it just has sort of shaped your philosophy is intriguing. And honestly, I think more people need to know about this. And let's talk about this further, please.
I would love to do that, Dan. That'd be great, because life is more than about politics. Yeah. We can't let politics drag us down and divide us and get us so negative. So I would love to come on whatever show. All right. We'll find a time. Yeah. And that'd be fantastic.
All right. He is Eric Hovde. And please, sir, do me a favor. Write down those 5 rules for success in life. Get that out there in an op-ed or something, because I'm sitting here saying, yes, this is exactly what I want, not just from politicians or leaders or whatever, but people. I mean, this is sort of the philosophy. I love talking to you, my man. What's the website again?
EricHovde.com.
EricHovde.com. Senate candidate Eric Hovde on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Sir, always a pleasure.
Always great being on your show, Dan, and I wish everybody the most wonderful day.
You too, sir. I'm telling you, that was. Did you know he battled MS? I did not know that either. I'm not sure if we broke any news here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, but it just battling. Yeah. Battling MS. That's right, Dave. And the way, man, you want it? Oh, yeah, we're at 54. Okay. We're going to have to take the last break a little early. Don't worry, we'll get to the unhinged liberal of the day in the 10 o'clock hour. We're actually going to continue on kind of this theme, getting away from politics and talking more about life and how that impacts politics and all of it. And we're going to use the Jason Kelce retirement speech to do so. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss the next segment here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Hi, Hiya, Dan here from my amazing friends at Built-Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. It's Built-Right's Customer Appreciation Sales Event on now. Shop where the O'Donnell family shops. Now more than ever, it is the time to support Built-Right, a locally and family-owned business for 4 generations and 96 years strong with the best selection and team in town. March marks their 18th anniversary in their Greenfield location. Built-Right's 45,000 square foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Special and custom orders are faster in 2024. You'll get the lowest price on popular brands like Smith Brothers, Elran, Temple, Heirloom, Restonic, and Therapeutic. Built-Right's one location always saves you money. Voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association Retailer of the Year. Shop Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built-Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Mullally finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion.
Financial strategies, but what's the way to build your wealth?
FinancialStrategiesInc.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Vos's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. Recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
Struggling to get rid of those unwanted pounds? Stress, aging, and so many factors that are near impossible to control lead to diet and exercise resistant fat. Fat that's not your fault, but is for sure a problem. Well, until now. The doctors and experienced staff at a Younger You Medical Spa can help you get rid of stubborn, unwanted fat. With CoolSculpting, they have performed over 5,000 treatments to help clients feel fit and confident. This fat freezing procedure uses cooling to remove fat from areas such as thighs, stomach, love handles, arms, and underneath the chin. CoolSculpting is a non-surgical way to reduce fat and get the body you've always dreamed of. An FDA-cleared and clinically proven procedure that freezes unwanted fat cells for good with little to no downtime. And treatments are just under an hour. And with their amazing special of 50% off 8+ treatments, it's never been more affordable to transform your body for good. Book your free consultation now. A Younger You Medical Spa in Brookfield and Burlington, or at ayounger.com.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Yesterday afternoon, a man died following a crash involving 4 vehicles. That included a Milwaukee police car. The crash happened near Sherman and Villard on Milwaukee's northwest side when a car that ran a red light hit a second car, which flipped over and crashed into a third car and a police cruiser. Both those vehicles stopped at a red light. The 55-year-old driver of the flipped vehicle died at a hospital. An 11-year-old passenger in that vehicle was hospitalized but is expected to survive. The only other injury was a minor one to an officer in the police vehicle. Police arrested the 31-year-old driver of the car that ran the red light. Wisconsin lawmakers want to make sure high school students know what they're getting into before they go to college. The Senate committee today will hold a hearing on a plan that would require the University of Wisconsin to post information about not only the cost of tuition, but the return on that tuition. The plan would require UW schools to tell high schoolers the average salary for graduates, the average debt for students, and the campus graduation rate ranked by major. Supporters say high school students need to know the true costs of a college degree. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is dropping out of the 2024 Republican presidential race today. Haley lost Super Tuesday primaries in every state except Vermont. Her exit hands the Republican nomination to former President Donald Trump and effectively kicks off the general election, with Trump and President Joe Biden taking unofficial command of their parties. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the Bucks kick off a West Coast swing tonight by facing the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, the best decision after a collision. And you hear me talking all the time about how great Mander is, but here's customer Amber, who writes, the quality of customer service at Mander in Muskego has far exceeded my expectations. After being involved in an accident, not my fault, and having experienced some significant difficulties communicating with the individual that hit me, Mander went above and beyond to ensure my needs were being met. I have never felt so confident and secure as a customer. The staff truly has their customers' best interests at heart and shows it through their actions. Thank you, Mander, for alleviating my stress through an undesirable chain of events. Thanks so much for sharing your experience, Amber, because that's yet another reason why I recommend Mander so highly. Now with 6 locations to serve you, Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A cloudy start to our day today, but we should get sunshine back by this afternoon. Highs will be in the mid to upper 40s inland, low 40s lakeside, courtesy of a northeast breeze. Partly cloudy and 35 tonight, increasingly cloudy tomorrow, high near 50. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Vos's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. Recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
Love podcasts? Pull out your phone right now. Open the free iHeartRadio app and check out these podcasts. History on Trial.
Only 30 minutes to put her body in the well.
Dateline NBC.
The first big clue in the mystery.
Mission Implausible.
The means to keep down what was then called the Third World.
Listen today on the iHeartRadio app. More than just the best radio, it's your favorite podcasts too. And best of all, it's absolutely free. iHeartRadio.
This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, news, talk, and sports radio. Podcasts too. Download the app. Free never sounded so good.
We will be podcasting that interview with Eric Hovde, Wisconsin's Senate candidate, as a separate podcast because, frankly, that was one of the coolest interviews I have done in quite some time. He talks about stuff that's deeper than politics, and I think his struggle with MS, which to my knowledge, this was the first time he's really spoken about publicly, that battle has sort of shaped a philosophy that I think we can all sort of ascribe to. And in this segment, I know everybody wants to hear me talk about politics and the Super Tuesday results and all of that, the Recall Vos movement and so forth. I could talk about that very passionately. But we've got, I think, more important, deeper stuff to talk about. By the way, adventknows.com talk and text line is open 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. You can also email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. As well, watch the show streaming live, youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. 2 days ago, the NFL saw what I thought was one of its best ever retirement speeches. Jason Kelce, all-pro center for the Philadelphia Eagles, spent his entire 13-year career in Philadelphia, certain first-ballot Hall of Famer, and the older brother of Travis Kelce. You might have heard about him playing football and dating some singer, I guess. I hadn't really heard much about it. He talked about the same sort of stuff that Hovde was talking about. Accountability, joy, love, passion, friendship. And in the most significant portion of his speech, fatherhood.
I think one of the best things a person can be in this world is a father. A father who is present, loving, devoted, just may be the greatest gift a child could ask for in our society. And I have a damn good one. My father believed in me more than anyone. He believed in my brother, and whenever my own insecurities would arise or self-doubt would come in, he would stifle them with the warm embrace of belief, unwavering love and belief.
It was a speech filled with touching moments, and that just might have been the most poignant, and I think it was unquestionably the most significant. Because America has for decades had a crisis of fatherlessness that's had devastating impacts across all facets of life. If you had to guess how many children in America right now don't have a father, stepfather, adoptive father, or father figure in the home? 35%? That's actually a little high. 18 million, roughly 1 in 4. So 25%. That, by the way, is by far the highest rate of fatherlessness in the developed world. By contrast, in China, Japan, the rate's something about 4%. The only country that actually comes close to us is Russia at about 20%. Nearly 46% of children in fatherless homes live in poverty. That compares with just 9.5% of children in two-parent homes who live in poverty, which makes fatherlessness, more than anything else, the single biggest determinant of whether or not a child and a family are living in poverty. Children without a father in their home, according to research, are 45% more likely to have to repeat a grade in school. They're 60% more likely to be suspended or expelled, and they're 75% more likely to become a teenaged parent. 71% of high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. So do 90%. 90, almost every single one of the homeless and runaway children in the United States. 85% of kids with behavioral and or emotional disorders come from fatherless homes. And tragically, 63% of the children who die by suicide are from single-parent homes. Now compare that with the 40% more likely children are to get mostly A's in school, top grades. Kids with fathers in the home are 50% more likely to attend college or to find steady employment after high school graduation. And even after the kid grows up, right? Even into young adulthood, the impacts of growing up in a single-parent home are enormous. Those who had a father who is active and an engaged presence in the home are far more likely to graduate from college, and on average, they earn significantly more money than people raised in single-parent homes. This has huge impacts on society, not just at a micro level, how much you're going to make, how much more likely you are as an individual to graduate from college. And this is, folks, please don't misunderstand. This is to take nothing away from single mothers or single fathers. There are tons of children who do just fine coming out of both. My parents were divorced. I was 15 years old. My younger brother was 4. when my parents separated. He's a doctor now in Austin, Texas, okay? My father, though, was still, even though my parents were separated, my father was still a very big presence in our lives. So it's not, divorce, about 40 to 50% of American marriages end in divorce. It's about a father being present. So when I talk about two-parent homes, what I'm talking about is a present father, a father who is there, a father who serves as a role model, a father who serves as a coach in sports, a father who serves as someone on the sidelines encouraging their kids, someone who just shows kids, especially boys, what it means to be a man. That's the most valuable thing, I think, as Jason Kelce said, that a man can do, right? I always talk about, or at least I think I have talked about on this show, when I dropped my kids off for daycare. When they were real young, the boys went to daycare because my wife and I both worked full time. And a couple of days a week, one day or so, they would stay with Grammy and Grampy. And one day we'd take them to daycare because we thought it was valuable. They socialize, they play with other kids and that sort of stuff. And every day I would drop them off in the little toddler room. There was a picture that said, and I can almost remember it verbatim. It was a picture of like a sports car, a red sports car. And the quote underneath it, in 100 years, it will not matter what sort of job I worked, how much money I made, what kind of car I drove, or what house I lived in. But it will matter that I was important in the life of a child. And I remember that because I looked at this thing every single day. I'm dropping off the kids at daycare. I said, wow, that really sort of makes you think. Your impact on a child as a father, as a mother, has impacts stretching far beyond your own life because it creates or it perpetuates a cycle of functional relationship. It creates or fosters this cycle and perpetuates this cycle of being able to be a functional adult because you're there with that model. You're there to provide for the family. And when you're not, as a father, fatherless children are much more likely to turn to crime. As we know, there was a massive explosion in the crime rate. From the early 1960s to the end of the decade, there was something like 126% increase in the violent crime rate across the United States. It is absolutely no coincidence that the breakdown of the nuclear family, which was happening right along the same time, no-fault divorces became common. You had the rise of LBJ's Great Society and welfare programs that essentially were rewarding fatherlessness with more money, replacing the father in the home with a government check. And all the while, the free love movement is going on. People were, having children younger, not necessarily younger, but having children outside of wedlock with no plans to get married, okay? So you saw a massive rise in single motherhood. Researchers, if you can believe this, have actually known about the link between fatherlessness and criminality far earlier. Now, I'm not talking about, say, the 1930s. I'm talking about the 1830s. Officials at Auburn Penitentiary in New York State, they studied the biographies of their inmates and issued two reports in 1829 and 1830 to the state legislature suggesting, quote, family disintegration resulting from the death, desertion, or divorce of parents led to undisciplined children who eventually became criminals. Almost 2 centuries later, it appears that this preliminary research was correct. Children in single-parent families are 279% more likely to carry guns or sell drugs, and fully 70% of all juveniles in state detention facilities come from fatherless homes. And that criminal behavior doesn't stop when they leave the home. It only gets worse, and American society at large is the victim. The Institute for Family Studies recently concluded that cities are safer when two-parent families are dominant and more crime-ridden when family instability is common. According to the Wall Street Journal, reporting on this study, crime is nearly twice as high in cities that have above the median share of single-parent families compared to cities that have fewer single-parent families. Even when you control for variables like poverty, like drug addiction, and that sort of thing, it's still a significant, statistically noticeable difference. Now, again, not every child from a fatherless home is going to become a criminal. Just as not every child from a two-parent home is going to become an all-pro future Hall of Fame football player like Jason Kelce. But Kelce in his retirement speech was far more correct, I think, than even he knows. One of the most important things a man can be in this world is a father. All of those statistics, by the way, available in my latest column out today at McIverInstitute.com. We have got that up right at the top of my X profile at Dan O'Donnell Show there and at Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Producer Dave, what do you think? Do we do Guess What's Racist next? Do we want to talk about this a little bit more? You find it interesting? You say we punt on guess because we are talking to Don Pridemore, candidate for state assembly, coming up. We'll see what we can do. But next, your reactions. 414-799-1130. That's the AdventNews.com talk and text line. Or you can reach me toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. The fatherless crisis in America and the importance of fathers. Next on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show. I want to share a landscaping secret with you. Winter is when our ornamental trees and shrubs need us most. We all know that plants need pruning, but why in the winter? Well, first, we can see their structure best when the leaves have fallen. And second, pruning is not so stressful when your plants are dormant. Pruning is affordable and makes a huge impact on the vitality and beauty of your trees and shrubs. So prune this winter and have gorgeous flowers next spring and summer. Pruning also helps keep your plants properly sized. No more dancing around them on the sidewalk or wrestling through them to wash your windows. Call today and schedule a complimentary evaluation of your ornamental plants. Our plant care experts will make sure your trees, shrubs, and perennials perform and look their best. Discover the wonders of nature. Call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. And you know, there's more to being a local Wisconsin bank than perfectly pronouncing Oconomowoc or Waukesha. Or is it Waukesha? But rest assured, at Great Midwest Bank, we understand the local community and economy because we're a part of it. At GMB, we provide customized lending products that others just can't offer. Experience a hometown banking difference. Head to greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Dan O'Donnell here for CertaPro Painters, which knows how important your home is to you. That's why they're focused on helping to bring a fresh color to your home. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right, as I did with my home. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in the state. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, pro.com. When choosing painting professionals, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Milwaukee attorneys. 111 East Kilbourne Avenue, Suite 1650, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202.
I'm Chris Riccobono, founder of Untuck It. When I started the brand, I wanted to make the perfect fitting Untucked shirt.
And over the years, we changed the way guys think about how they dress. The secret was our obsession over fabric quality, listening to what our customers wanted and making everything fit perfectly. Our fit team has mastered pants, polos, sports coats, and more, so we've got you covered from head to toe. Try what millions of guys already know and love. Shop today at untuckit.com or our 80-plus stores worldwide.
Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
My latest column at the MacIver Institute is all about the importance of fatherhood, which one could argue is the single biggest determinant of one's life trajectory. Bigger than whether or not they live in poverty. Poverty, I have long believed, is not a cause. Poverty is a symptom of dysfunction. There is so much dysfunction in American culture that celebrates said dysfunction, that this is something that we should ascribe to, as opposed to the traditional nuclear family. I mean, think about how, and I'm not even willing to go as far as to say 2 men or 2 women raising a child is necessarily a harmful or bad thing. What I am saying is the presence of a male, or in the case of, I guess, a lesbian relationship, masculine role model presence, and the two-person partnership. I mean, let's face it, folks, this is the man, woman, children, family unit dichotomy has sort of served humanity pretty doggone well for, I don't know, several dozen millennia or so. It doesn't take a village to raise a child. It takes a family. And if you're blessed enough to have it, an extended family. It's no coincidence that the decline of American civilization, which has sort of been this slow motion tumble, happened at the exact same time where we essentially got away from that long-standing cultural norm of having an intact nuclear family. I mean, the black community in particular has been devastated by fatherlessness, has been devastated by the lack of the male role model. And one of the biggest reasons that the male role model is so important is when you were a kid, I want you to think, what is the scariest thing your mother could ever tell you? I'm going to tell your dad when he gets home from work. I'm telling your dad, okay, no, that's fine. You know, Dad would come home, he'd have that kind of half crazy look in his eyes, stressed out at work, the tie's all rumpled. You know, maybe hasn't had his shower yet, still stinks from the job site. The last thing he wants to hear about is how you slapped your little sister because she wouldn't share her toy. It was that accountability. And you learn accountability when the socialization of understanding consequences, cause and effect. We were talking about this with Eric Hovde, understand that your decisions always have consequences. And sometimes those consequences you won't even see or fully appreciate for years, but you always have to be cognizant of them. When there is an environment, I'm not saying women can't be the disciplinarian. I'm not. I truly am not. But when there isn't a fear of, and we hear this all the time. I hear this all the time in talking to law enforcement officers and people involved in the criminal justice system. And they say a lot of times the mothers that they deal with are the sweetest, nicest people. Their kids, though, they can't control. I mean, think about 16-year-old kid. You got a mom who's 5'2" and 115 pounds, and the son is 6'4" and 220. What is she going to do if Junior wants to go out at 3 a.m. and do whatever? You know what I'm saying? It's difficult. But Junior isn't going out and getting into trouble if from the time he was 1-2 years old understands that behavior that goes outside of first family norms and then school norms, daycare norms, and then broader societal norms will be punished. And in a much broader sense, haven't we gotten away with that? Where criminality, we've gotten away from the idea where criminality must be punished, where deviant behavior must be punished. There is something my wife likes to take credit for alerting me to. It's called the shopping cart theory, right? Shopping cart theory. Shopping cart theory is it's an easy way to understand who is able to live in a society. You go to a store, you got the shopping cart. Let's say it's not a beautiful day like today, but it's a typical early March day. The wind is whipping, maybe it's raining, maybe it's snowing. You got, the kids in the car and they want to go to McDonald's afterwards. And you see the corral for the shopping carts a couple of, meters away, a couple of yards away. But it's way easier to just sort of leave the shopping cart right next to your car and drive off. There's no reward for putting the shopping cart back, right? Most stores don't have, I think, does Aldi still do this where you put in the coin to get it's a quarter? Yeah, okay. I haven't been to Aldi in a while. It's just not one near me. I love Aldi. And then my wife discovered Costco, and that was the end of that. But there's no reward. Typical grocery store, there is no reward, nor is there a punishment. Is the store security guard going to come up and, tackle you to the ground and force you to put the shopping cart back? No, there's no reward. And there's no punishment for lack of compliance with what is universally understood to be the acceptable social behavior of putting your shopping cart back. You can exist in a society if you put that shopping cart back, independent of reward or punishment for doing so or failing to do so. That behavior, understanding societal norms, comes in a functional family. And while I'm saying it's not impossible for a single-parent family to have that same level of function, it is far more likely, and every single statistic on fatherhood, fatherlessness, and the like bears this out. So, if you would like to read those statistics, read more about fatherlessness, fatherhood, and the importance thereof, McIverInstitute.com. Don Pridemore, Assembly candidate, coming up next here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Vos's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. Recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Vos.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Dan O'Donnell here for This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex, also with me. And this week, it feels especially bullish in the markets, Dave.
Yeah, it really does. There's a bullish sentiment that is certainly sweeping. And it really is something that we've seen throughout the beginning of this year as well, partly because it's a presidential election year. And this is normal. If you go back for the last 12 or 13 elections, you see that we generally have a positive year in a presidential election year. And so that's what we're seeing here, number one. And number two, of course, that the Federal Reserve is hinting that sometime this year they're going to turn around and start cutting rates. You know, we all know that for 18 months they were raising rates, they then paused, and they're going to turn around and start cutting rates. So a combination of those two things are really playing into this sentiment, Dan. The other thing that you're going to see, of course, is that it begins to build on itself. So you get the old FOMO, the fear of missing out, starting to come into play, and that's what we're starting to have happen. But folks, you got to be careful and know what you own. And the reason why is because you can't blindly just put money to work. You have to make sure it fits into your risk profile, it fits into your asset allocation, and most importantly, it helps you get to the goals that you're trying to establish, and we can help with those ideas.
Yeah, and that website is annexwealth.com, because in times of uncertainty, and we think that election years are going to be a good year, we think that the bullish sentiment is going to continue, we think there's going to be some FOMO, no one ever really knows. So you need to be positioned for any and every possible outcome. And one thing that we do know about this market and about every market is that any outcome is possible. Get your free wealth metric at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, president and CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting. When you hire a painter, what are you really looking for? Is it straight lines? Good coverage? Is it really about quality painting? Or are those things just inherent expectations? Of course they are. Years ago, I figured it out. Color Wheel's success is about way more than the high quality work we do. It's about you feeling safe and respected in your own home. It's about you trusting our geek level expertise to do the work. It's about you receiving our courtesy around your family, being kind to your dog, and cleaning up well, because you don't need another mess. Ultimately, it's the experience, front to back and back again. And so, while there are a lot of people who can kind of paint, they can't do what Color Wheel does to make you feel great about every dollar you spend. There's only one Color Wheel Painting, so look no further. Remodelandpaint.com, that's remodelandpaint.com.
When you breathe well, you live better. Find out more at adventknows.com.
iHeart Podcast Update. This week on your free iHeartRadio app. Math and Magic. Stories from the frontiers of marketing with Bob Pittman, Season 6. Join iHeartMedia Chairman and CEO as he analyzes the math and magic of marketing, sitting down with today's most gifted disruptors. Marketing School, digital marketing and online marketing tips. Actionable digital marketing lessons learned through years of being in the trenches. Office Hours with Mike Stibe. Mike sits down with the world's most important chief executives to answer your most pressing questions about leadership, career, and life. Hear these podcasts and more on your free iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Taking on the issues that the rest of the media fear. Mark Belling. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6. There's only one. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Because of redistricting, a whole lot of Republicans are being drawn into the same legislative districts. There are also legislative districts that now have no incumbent, and this is attracting a whole lot of interest from candidates. That includes the 98th Assembly District, where earlier this week we talked with Jim Pivovarczyk of WisconsinRightNow.com, who announced that he was going to run. Last week, Don Pridemore, veteran member of the Wisconsin Assembly. He also ran for the state Senate as well as state superintendent, announced his run. And Don joins us now. Don, how you doing, buddy?
Well, good morning. It's great to be with you.
So you served in the legislature for 10 years, correct? 04 to 14, or I guess 05 to 15, and then retired. Why come back now?
Yeah. Well, because the boundaries of this new 98th district is exactly the boundaries that I had when I was first running, when I was in the 99th Assembly District. So it's a perfect fit for, I still have friends in all those areas, so I think this is the right time and the right place. I still have plenty of energy, and I have ideas that I want to present as well. So,
what sort of ideas, sir?
Well, first of all, I wanted to make a correction. I don't know if you read my announcement sheet, but I had on there that I was going to be active on Facebook. Well, that's not going to be true. I'm going to stick strictly to social media, Facebook, X, and Truth Social. My wife is an expert at those social media, as well as a few of my friends. So I just want to make that fact known.
Wait, and, I'm not sure. Wait, I'm not sure I follow. You said you weren't going to be on Facebook, but now you are. I guess I did miss that. You'll have to forgive me.
No, I wasn't going to have a website. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, do you have a website?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. You're just going to do social media. Okay.
That's correct.
No, I got you. So, your ideas for the legislature, because these are going to be critical races. I mean, as I'm sure you're aware, we are in a fight as conservatives, as Republicans, for control of the legislature, which in my humble opinion was gerrymandered in such a way that Democrats now have a partisan advantage in areas where they never did before. There are going to be dozens of Republicans who are just taken out of the legislature because they're drawn into districts with each other in what could be a very critical seat, because this district is pretty strongly Republican. Why do you think you are the best fit? What about your ideas do you think are the best fit for this district?
Well, the district is actually about 78% conservative. And like I said, it mirrors what I had in the past. I have an engineering degree from Marquette that I got in 77. And I believe in term limits. That's one reason why I stopped at 10 years when I found somebody that was very conservative to take my place. So that was Janelle Brangen. Mm-hmm. And currently I serve on 2 school boards. So I have, because we are a union school district here in Hartford, I'm able to be on both boards at the same time. And I am pro-life. I back the blue. I'm a life member of the VFW and the American Legion. I served 15 years in Boy Scouts with my 3 sons, who all went through the Hartford school system. I'm concerned about election integrity. I was an election observer for 10 years in Milwaukee. I have stories to tell about that, but I'll save it for another time. I believe in a strong education system that teaches the 3 R's and does not teach indoctrination. I will fight for parents' rights and make sure girls are protected from having to compete against biological males. Mm-hmm. As part of my school reform package, I will remove the income requirements completely from the choice program. I will call for an audit on DPI. Who knows what the 900-plus employees do? Mm-hmm. Through legislation, I will move part of DPI into Milwaukee area where most of the education challenges exist. Once we've accomplished that, I will offer legislation to divide Milwaukee into 8 smaller districts. This will offer competition between the new districts for students. It will reduce the power of the bloated teachers union and eliminate the central office.
I guess, sir, if I may, I'm sorry, your district doesn't represent the city of Milwaukee. And I mean, please don't misunderstand. Like, I completely agree. MPS needs to be broken up. DPI needs to be reformed, but you're very focused on a school district that isn't in your legislative district.
Well, as the old saying goes, as Milwaukee goes, the state. So that's why if we can do something to help Milwaukee correct their problems, then it'll be reflected on the entire state. So
I gotcha. Okay. One other question. You did run for the state Senate against now Senator John Jagler. Your residency was unsuccessfully challenged. You ran against Tony Evers as DPI secretary in 2013. You were unsuccessful there. You said you left the legislature because you believed in term limits. But you seem, and now you serve on the school boards, you seem, though, to kind of run for everything. And please don't, I mean absolutely no disrespect by this. When a candidate sort of runs for everything, I think there's a perception in the minds of voters that it doesn't matter where I serve, I just want to serve and collect that government check, that you're sort of, whether you wanted to be or not, more of a career politician. Do you kind of understand that line of thinking? Like, how do you rebut that idea?
Well, first of all, a government check, as an engineer, my salary was about $75,000, so I took about a $25,000 pay cut just to be in the assembly the first 10 years. And I did not get the support of the Republican Party, nor Scott Walker when I ran for DPI, so that explains why, and I still got 40% of the vote on my own. So had I gotten the support of the state party and Scott Walker, I could have gotten an extra 10% and maybe beat Tony Evers when he was the DPI superintendent, and we wouldn't have him as governor right now.
What if, man? That would have been fantastic.
Yes. And the other issues that I would be working on, I would make illegal any transgender surgery or medications for children under 18 years old. I had an immigration bill that banned sanctuary cities. I would have fined any municipality $1,000 a day if they were not conforming. That was part of an immigration bill I had while I was in the legislature. And I would never support ranked choice voting. Many of the notable elected officials, like leaders of both the Senate and the Assembly, both took money from supporters of the ill-advised voting method that is confusing to voters and takes longer to determine the winner and could stretch the result well beyond the date of the election. So those are some of the issues that I definitely want to work on if I'm elected. And what else can I tell you?
If you don't mind, sir, I do have a question, and I'm going to put this as delicately as I can because we have received a number of texts about it. In an election in which former President Biden's age, and to a lesser extent, or excuse me, I keep calling him former President Biden. This is like totally wishful thinking on my part. In an election where President Biden's age is a significant, possibly the most significant issue, and Democrats are trying to make former President Trump's age a significant issue, you are 77 years old. And how do you combat some concerns that our listeners, and I'm relaying some of the texts that we've gotten as we've been talking, some voter concerns regarding your age if elected?
I'm younger than President Trump, and I'm younger than Mr. Biden. And I have longevity in my family. My dad didn't stop working until he was 91 years old.
Man, wow.
And his younger sister just passed away at 104. And, he was very active up until then. And I'm very active now. And will continue in that vein. And, again, until I find somebody willing to take my place that I think can do a better job and maybe is younger, then I will do the best I can to represent my constituents.
That is fair, sir. Thank you so much for answering that question. I do, it's something I don't want to come across as, the question is one you have to sort of ask delicately. And I really do appreciate your willingness to answer. But since we've gotten a number of texts about it, I feel like I had to. Don Pridemore, where can people find you on Facebook, Twitter, Truth Social, etc.?
Well, my wife is not here right now, so I can't tell you what her address is for those social medias, but I can certainly get that to you.
Okay.
But I do make my cell phone and.
No. We can get in all sorts, sir. We can get in all sorts of trouble giving out your personal cell phone on the radio. I do thank you, Don Pridemore. He is a candidate for the Wisconsin Assembly. Sir, best of luck to you. Thanks for coming on the program.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. You bet. He is Don Pridemore, veteran lawmaker here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
Your home is where your heart is, and it deserves the best, especially when it comes to windows. Marvin is the premier manufacturer of made-to-order windows, offering unparalleled value with craftsman-quality construction, energy-efficient technology, and the industry's most extensive selection of shapes, styles, sizes, and options. And now, they're pre-staining their products too. For more than a century, they've never compromised on quality, and the fact that they're family-owned means they take pride in their products. And that's why we like them, and why Marvin Replacement Windows is our lead brand, because the quality will not let you down. And after over 50 years of having seen it all in the window business, I'd like to think our endorsement of this fine product means something. Marvin Windows, built around you. This is David Wilhelm, and for the area's largest selection of Marvin Replacement window options, your clear choice for more is Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Considering remodeling? Don't know where to start? Hi, Scott Reamer from Reamer Remodel, Wisconsin's leading residential remodeler, specializing in kitchens, bathrooms, lower levels, and additions. Our process is simple yet proven. Architecturally trained designers, master craftsmen, and a project management team dedicated to every job, providing detailed updates daily. Want to learn more? Visit us online at reamerremodel.com. That's RIEMER remodel.com.
It was a doozy, all right. Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too many drinks, and a gal who felt compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Voss's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com, recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by by Recall Voss.
Do you know you need a new roof? Of course you do. For award-winning service and a free consultation, visit Klaus Roofing Systems by BuckBuckley.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Milwaukee attorneys. 111 East Kilbourne Avenue, Suite 1650, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202.
Pure Talk believes in American values and that free should mean exactly that, free. Well, switch to Pure Talk today and you'll get a free Samsung 5G smartphone. Now, qualifying plans start at just $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and, of course, mobile hotspot. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, claim your eligibility for your free brand new Samsung 5G smartphone. Start saving on wireless today and switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
The most accurate, complete news about Milwaukee. Every hour, every day. This is News Talk 1130. WISN. The next generation is here.
The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Dave, you totally picked this bumper on purpose. The future is coming on, it's coming on. The next generation. A first on the Dan O'Donnell Show. A candidate who needs to get back to us on his social media sites. I hope when Don's wife gets home, we will. I want to plug it. They are wonderful people. The Pridemoors are actually wonderful, wonderful people. They are great patriots. I mean, Don, I've known Don, boy, oh boy, I think I met Don when he was running for superintendent 10 years ago. You know what? I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to refer back to a point from earlier this hour. You know what? I don't want to be. I like Don quite. People are asking on our YouTube stream, why are you calling him sir? Don't be a sycophant. Well, I don't know. I guess I had a dad who told me to refer to my elders as sir. It's either that or bruh. What up, bruh? You're running for assembly. Let's just say we had two of the more interesting interviews we have done here on the Dan O'Donnell Show in quite some time. Tomorrow we are going to talk with Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. He is going to join the program tomorrow. What are you laughing in there? You're not Okay. It was a caller. It wasn't. Okay. Do you know where I left the notepad where my email password is, Dave? Do you remember? I'm sorry. A little bit. Okay, I know. Dave says I'm the comedian making the same punchline again. I'm not. I'm saying this. I think you all know what I'm saying. There is too much at stake. Okay? There is a whole lot at stake in this legislative election. I don't think people understand just how badly these districts are gerrymandered and just what an advantage that Democrats have. Not just the fact that the incumbency in state Senate and state assembly elections is massive. This is why they tried to pit as many incumbents against each other as humanly possible in these maps. For goodness sakes, there are 3 Republican state senators in the Green Bay area drawn into the same Senate district. That is a classic tactic of gerrymandering because it makes that seat far easier to win. The seats that the other 2 Republicans are drawn out of, far easier to win because there's no incumbent. So it's far easier to take over. You don't have someone who's already built up a massive war chest, someone who is well known in their district and possibly well entrenched with a political operation that's superior to someone who's just starting out in politics. There's a whole lot at stake. We are out of time here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Thank you so much for listening. Back right here tomorrow. Get out and enjoy the day.